There is a kind of silence in love that hurts even more than goodbye. It's when the person you love suddenly withdraws, without reason, without explanation, without even a sigh. They were once so close, and then one day, became as strangers. They once made you believe in a profound connection, and then left you in complete bewilderment. The pain does not stem merely from their disappearance, but from the inability to understand. If they loved you, how could they turn away? If the love was real, why is it now so silent? That question has tormented many, making them blame themselves and get lost in their sorrow. We begin to think we must have done something wrong. Perhaps we weren't good enough, not attentive enough, not loving enough. But the truth is, when someone pulls away in love, the reason is sometimes not about you, but about something deep within them. Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst, once emphasized, "What we do not face in ourselves will come to us as fate." In love, the unhealed parts, the fears, the forgotten memories, the wounds that never closed, will speak up. And when love becomes too deep, too real, too close, the unconscious will react in defense. This article is not meant to excuse someone's departure. It is meant to offer a deeper, more healing perspective, where you not only try to understand the pain but also learn to transform it into inner growth. Because not every disappearance is a betrayal, not every silence means the love is gone, and not every distance is a definitive ending. Together, we will journey through 4 layers of this experience. 1. Love is not simple, it is a deeply spiritual experience. 2. Withdrawal, not because the love has faded, but because fear has taken over. 3. You are not the cause, they are battling their own inner world. 4. True love does not need trials, it needs maturity. Each part is a step to help you move out of doubt, through the storm of emotion, and into the stillness of understanding. Not to hold on to the other person, but to hold on to the peace within you. Because love, if it is true, doesn't need to be chased. It will find its way back. And if it doesn't, then you, the one who has understood love more deeply through that pain, will be the one who returns stronger, more whole than ever. 1. Love is not simple, it is a deeply spiritual experience. From Carl Jung's perspective, love is not merely an emotion, it is a spiritual phenomenon, a space where 2 souls touch not only on the surface but at the deepest layers of the unconscious. We often believe we know what we want in love, someone who cherishes us, stays by our side and treats us with care. But the truth is, our choices in love rarely come from logic. They stem from invisible forces within, from places where old wounds reside, where suppressed memories linger, and where unspoken desires quietly shape our longings. When we love someone deeply, they don't just become a companion, they become a mirror reflecting our inner world. They reveal the parts of us we've tried to forget, the fear of abandonment, the feeling of unworthiness, childhood pain, or unmet expectations we've long buried. In that profound moment of connection, love opens not just a doorway to the other person, but a gateway into ourselves. That is why true love is never as smooth as a fairy tale. It stirs emotions long dormant. It brings to the surface our inner shadows, the aspects we've denied, resented, or hidden out of shame. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the unconscious darkness, and warned that if we do not confront it, it will appear in our relationships, especially in romantic ones. Love, in its deepest essence, is a journey of awakening. It does not come to make us feel comfortable. It comes to make us real, so that we learn to see ourselves, not only through loving gazes but through our own reactions. Jealousy, anxiety, fear of loss. Each time we love is another test placed before our soul, a challenge of growth. People say, love is pain. They're not wrong, but when we understand the source of that pain, it is no longer just suffering, it becomes a path. True love, therefore, is not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone with whom, when you are together, you feel illuminated, whether by the warm light of comfort or the blinding light of truth. That person, knowingly or not, becomes a catalyst for your inner expansion, and it is in these moments that love reaches its deepest form. Love is a spiritual experience, where you return to the truest version of yourself. 2. Withdrawal, not because the love has faded, but because the fear is too great. There is a paradox in love that many have experienced, but few truly understand. At the very moment when love becomes the most profound, the other person suddenly grows silent, distant, or even disappears without a word. Many are quick to assume it's a sign of indifference, that the love has come to an end. But what if that withdrawal is not an ending, but the result of fear too immense, awakened by the very love you offered. Carl Jung once emphasized, what we do not face in ourselves will appear in our lives as fate. When someone carries within them a deep fear, fear of abandonment, fear of losing control, fear of being hurt, then love, instead of making them feel safe, can leave them feeling unmoored. The more sincere the love, the deeper the connection, the more likely it is to touch that vulnerable wound, and the unconscious, like an old, vigilant gatekeeper, reacts by pulling them away. As an act of self-protection, they are not running from you. They are running from the vulnerability that love brings to the surface. They are not ignoring you. They are avoiding the anxiety within themselves, an anxiety they may not even know how to name. And in the chaos of their inner world, they retreat, not because the love is insufficient, but because it feels so overwhelming that it makes them feel small, exposed, and painfully vulnerable. For the one left behind, the most painful part is not understanding why. That silence is easily mistaken for rejection, for denial, for the absence of love. So we spiral into self-blame, try to cling harder, demand explanations, and even pressure them to respond. But the more we do this, the more their unconscious recoils, not because they are being cruel, but because they feel threatened, not loved. In such moments, the wisest response is not interrogation or grasping, but space. Space to breathe, to face themselves, to process the fear they cannot yet articulate. You cannot fight the inner battle they are waging, but you can be a quiet presence, without demands, without pressure, a gentle anchor reminding them that they are still held, still accepted, and if the love is true, it will find its way back. But this time, not to escape, but to engage, not because the fear is gone, but because they have found the courage to face that fear and still choose to love. Free, you are not the cause, they are battling themselves. One of the most painful illusions in love is the belief that they left because I wasn't enough. But the truth is, their reaction doesn't reflect your worth, it reflects their own inner fear. Carl Jung once said, "We do not see the world as it is, we see it as we are." This means that people do not love you based purely on who you are. They love from their own point of view, colored by wounds, expectations, and unhealed shadows. When you enter their life as a light, that light is not only warm, it also exposes the dark corners they've hidden for so long. And instead of feeling gratitude for that light, they feel exposed, afraid, desperate to run. So don't be quick to believe that their silence is a rejection. Don't burden yourself with guilt just because someone else didn't know how to love you at the right time. They are not fighting you. They are fighting themselves. They don't know how to handle love because they have never learned how to handle themselves. Many people live their entire lives in survival mode, where love equals losing control, getting hurt, or being betrayed. When they begin to feel truly loved, their unconscious rises up and screams, "Danger, back away." So they leave, not because they want to, but because the wounded part of them has learned to react this way. And you, the one left behind, you are not to blame. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth, or transform into someone else to hold on to love. You don't need to chase someone who is running from themselves. The only thing you need is to stay with yourself. Understand this, you are worthy of love, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. And true love, if it returns, will be a love that has walked through fear and arrived at maturity. And if it doesn't, then that departure was the very gift that leads you back to healing yourself. Love is not about saving someone else. Love is about seeing the truth and still choosing to love yourself first. That is the most beautiful thing you can do for yourself, and even for the one who walked away. 4. Loving someone means letting them grow, even if it's without you. The highest form of love is not possession, it is freedom. To truly love someone is to wish for their growth, even if that growth takes them away from you. This is one of the hardest lessons in love, because love makes us want to hold, to protect, to keep close. But spiritual love, the kind Carl Jung spoke of, does not bind. It liberates. It sees the beloved not as an object to complete us, but as a soul walking its own path, with wounds to heal and journeys to take that we may not be part of. Sometimes, your presence is healing. Other times, your absence is necessary for their transformation. And that doesn't mean the love was meaningless. In fact, some of the deepest loves are the ones that must let go. It's in the letting go that love becomes pure, no longer tied to ego or fear, but surrendered to the flow of life and trust in the soul's unfolding. To say, "I love you," and also mean, "I release you," is not weakness, It is the ultimate act of strength, and perhaps one day, in some other time or space, the paths will cross again, not as halves seeking wholeness, but as wholes walking side by side. Until then, let your love be the blessing they carry on their journey, not a chain that holds them back, but a wind that reminds them they were once deeply seen and unconditionally loved. Love is not always meant to stay, but it is always meant to awaken you. You met them for a reason. Not every love is meant to stay forever, but every love has the power to awaken something within you. Carl Jung taught us that the soul uses relationships to grow, to see itself more clearly, to heal old patterns, to become whole. So even if your love story didn't end in togetherness, perhaps it was never about that. Perhaps it was about becoming. You are not broken because they left. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. The pain, the longing, the unanswered questions, they are all part of the alchemy. So breathe, let go, and trust that love, even in its absence, is still guiding you home.